The stock market, a pillar of the global economy today, didn't appear overnight. It evolved over centuries, with various influences shaping its emergence. In this script, we will explore the history of the stock market, when it started, where it first emerged, how it evolved, and what was needed for its creation. Understanding the origins of this vital financial system helps illuminate the path to modern-day global trading. 1. The concept of stock trading. Before delving into the history of stock markets, it's important to understand the core concept. A stock represents ownership in a company. Historically, businesses needed capital to expand, but few had the funds to do so on their own. By offering shares or stocks, companies could raise money from investors who in return would receive a portion of the profits. The idea of raising money from others has existed for centuries. Merchants and entrepreneurs always sought funding to start and grow their businesses. Stock trading, as we know it, grew from these early practices of pooling resources and sharing profits. 2. Early origins of stock trading. The origins of the modern stock market can be traced to early European trade practices. In ancient Rome, citizens would sometimes band together to fund large projects such as building aqueducts, and some of the earliest forms of trading can be seen in this collaborative economic behavior. However, it wasn't until the late medieval and early modern periods that the concept began to take a recognizable form. One of the earliest instances of organized stock trading occurred in Venice, Italy. In the 14th century, merchants in Venice would trade shares of various ventures, such as shipping voyages, using a kind of early partnership agreement. While this wasn't exactly the stock market as we know it, it laid the groundwork for future stock exchanges. 3. The birth of the first stock market, Amsterdam, 1602. While early forms of stock trading existed in places like Venice, the first true stock market began to take shape in the early 17th century in Amsterdam, Netherlands. This is where the first publicly traded company in history, the Dutch East India Company, was established. In 1602, the Dutch East India Company issued shares to the public in order to fund their voyages to Asia. These shares were bought and sold on the Amsterdam Stock Exchange, which is recognized as the first official stock exchange in the world. The Dutch East India Company became the first company to sell stocks and bonds to the public, and the Amsterdam Stock Exchange became the first venue where investors could trade stocks. This historic event marked the beginning of modern financial markets. 4. The growth of stock markets in the 17th and 18th centuries. In the centuries following Amsterdam's pioneering stock exchange, other countries began to create their own financial markets. In 1698, the London Stock Exchange was formally organized, though its roots trace back even earlier to coffee houses where traders would meet to buy and sell shares of British companies. Meanwhile, the concept of the stock market continued to evolve in America. In the 18th century, colonial merchants began organizing their own stock exchanges to facilitate trade. The New York Stock Exchange NYSE officially started in 1792, when 24 stockbrokers signed the Buttonwood Agreement under a buttonwood tree on Wall Street. This agreement established the rules for buying and selling shares and created the foundation for what would become the largest stock exchange in the world. 5. What was needed to start a stock market? To establish a stock market, several crucial elements are necessary: regulation and trust. A framework of rules is necessary to protect investors and ensure fair trading. In the early days, this often meant informal agreements and trust among traders, but over time, governments began to formalize stock market regulation to prevent fraud and maintain order. A venue for trading, a central location for buyers and sellers to meet and exchange shares, is key. This can be a physical location like the Amsterdam Stock Exchange or a modern digital platform. The place where stock trading happens is essential for the smooth functioning of the market. Companies offering shares. For a stock market to exist, companies must be willing to offer ownership stakes in the form of shares to the public. These shares allow the company to raise capital while giving investors a potential stake in the company's future success. Investors. A stock market thrives when there are individuals or institutions willing to invest. In the early days, these investors were wealthy individuals or groups with capital to invest in ventures. Financial infrastructure. This includes the systems needed to record transactions, facilitate trades, and settle accounts. With modern technology, this has evolved into complex digital networks, but in the early days, paper-based systems and ledgers were used to track shares and trades. 6. The role of stock markets in the modern economy. Stock markets have become integral to the global economy. They provide companies with access to capital and give investors an opportunity to diversify their portfolios. Additionally, stock markets facilitate economic growth by enabling companies to raise money for expansion and innovation. Over the centuries, stock markets have continued to evolve. With the advent of the internet, stock markets became more accessible to the general public. Digital platforms and online trading accounts allow anyone with an internet connection to buy and sell stocks, fundamentally changing how stock markets operate. The birth and evolution of the stock market have been critical in shaping the modern financial landscape. It all began in Amsterdam in the early 1600s, and from there, it spread across the globe. The combination of entrepreneurs seeking capital, investors seeking opportunities, and markets seeking structure and regulation led to the development of stock exchanges that would become the heartbeat of modern economies. From the coffee houses of London to the bustling trading floors of Wall Street, and now to the digital screens of online trading platforms, the stock market has continuously adapted to meet the needs of a changing world. Its impact is felt worldwide, from individual investors to multinational corporations. By understanding where the stock market began, we gain valuable insight into how it operates today and why it remains a crucial component of the global financial system. This overview provides a general history of the stock market and the foundational elements that enabled its creation. The story spans hundreds of years of economic, social, and technological progress, ultimately giving us the global financial systems we rely on today.